I'm working on Tyler's machine today. This is the 2017 XP4 1000 or White Lightning 2.0. This is the one I just put a new clutch in. We've been test driving it and it feels okay, but I've got a nasty, nasty shake. It feels like it's in the drive line, and I'm not happy about the clutch alignment. Something's going on, I don't know what it is. We're gonna dig into it today. I had another one of those 3 a.m. epiphany sort of deals. Wake up and think, you know, I should check the engine mounts. Maybe something's loose in that. So I've got a crowbar. And we're gonna check. I can see them all. There's that one in the rear. There's that one in the front. And then there's one on the other side. And all the bolts are in and everything. But I'm just gonna pry on the bottom of that output shaft and see if it moves at all. Sorry for the kids yelling. My wife runs a daycare and they're out on recess or something. Oh, there. I don't know if you can see that in the video, but there is quite a bit of movement, isn't there? It almost seems like bolts might be loose between the two. That didn't feel right. The engine mounts seem okay. I don't know. Let's bring it down into the driveway, get some light on here. Let's look at it a little closer. There's a little extra rattle noise. There's a broken clamp on the exhaust. I'm gonna fix that as long as it's in here. But I'm gonna just set up the camera and watch the engine transmission. I'll do a little brake stand, see if it moves at all. Definitely some movement. I'm gonna bring it in, we'll lift it up, and I'll start prying around and see if I can figure out what is going on. Something big has happened. I don't know what it is yet. Well, I know exactly what the problem is, and how it eluded me to this point is beyond me. I feel ridiculous for having not seen this earlier. Engine, transmission. The two are bolted together. Well, they're supposed to be bolted together. That is missing. And that is missing. Pretty sure it's held in by 4, and at least 2 of them are gone. Let me get a light and see if I can see the other ones from the back side. Oh my gosh, this is bad. We've been driving this like that. Trying to light through there. I can see the back end of the other bolts. They do appear to be in there. They may or may not be loose. I would think loose, maybe bent. I don't know. I'm kind of worried about it. I think the best course of action now, since I don't know how long those bolts have been missing, would be to take off the clutches and the inner clutch housing so that I can physically inspect those bolts. This could have been a disaster. We are preparing this machine, no joke, we're preparing this machine to go to Silver Lake, the sand dunes. We've never been. I'm like 10 hours away from that. They're the closest sand dunes to me. We really want to go. This machine we've been working on to get it ready to go, that could have been catastrophic. I can't believe how bad that is. Making good progress. Got everything all torn off there. And the bolts are in, but that is loose. I'm gonna take those out slowly by hand in case they're bent or damaged. I really don't want to break those bolts. Yeah. And I also found that the transmission has been leaking. Someone put silicone on the front of it, so that's fun. Didn't know that when he got it. But I mean, it'll be fine, I guess. I don't see anything wet, so it did leak at one time, but it's not leaking now. We're still gonna check the fluid level. But I did take a picture of the clutch alignment. I'm gonna show you right here. Yeah, that's way off. This is probably why. Like I said in the last video when I was putting the primary on, I didn't see a way to shim anything. Well, I probably didn't need to. It was just off center, so I'll show you that when we get it all back together and lined up. Check how that alignment went. All right, I'm gonna get these bolts out real quick. one stripped. Doggone it. Bottom one is stripped. Dang that. Oh, she's not stripped, she's snapped. This just became a pretty major problem. What have we done? This whole piece is removable. 6 bolts. Take the whole thing out. We've got it over on the workbench. Got my uncle, the machinist, working on it. Aww. It's been a few hours. The easy out broke. The threads were messed up. We couldn't save it. So it's a through drilled hole now. And I'll just get bolt for that one when I get bolts for the other ones. Not a big deal. Just we could have saved a lot of time and just did that 2 hours ago. Alright, we're gonna put that back in. We have the plate back in. Here she is. Got this nifty little tool to line up the holes later. But I gotta get some bolts. So we're gonna through bolt this one, stock bolt that one, through bolts on the other side. We'll be back in business. I will be back as soon as I have the bolts. We are back. I have a new bolt to replace the one that I broke. We broke this one. We may have ruined the threads a little bit, so brand new one to go in its place, and then I have to figure out how I'm gonna through bolt the rest of them. I think this bolt might be too long. I have more of these. You know, when you order one, you might as well order 4. Then you have extras. I don't know. We're gonna figure it out. We're gonna start by getting this one in. Oh, and I need to align the clutch. I have a clutch alignment tool for that. I have a couple clutch alignment tools. I'm putting 2 on it because neither of them are the exact correct one, but they're gonna be close enough. I'll be able to check. I'm just gonna make sure they're all centered up. Obviously, if they're both in the center, then I'm lined up both ways. But there's just a little bit of play on this side. This side shaft is tight, but this one's a little bit big for that one, and that one's just a tick big for that. But we can center them right up. It'd be perfect. I think I have enough. I can put this bolt in. Get that tightened down and centered up. Just had a thought. We're gonna put a dab of thread lock on there. I don't want this falling out again. All the bolts are in, tightened up, and that is nice and centered, both in and out. So I should be good, you know, in all directions. I mean, unless that one's back further, but there's no way to shim for that, so it shouldn't be back any further. I think we're gonna put it back together. Cover is back in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 10mm bolts hold that in, lining it up so that all the gaskets line up perfect in the shafts and everything. Tighten our exhaust hose and our intake. It's not really a hose, tube. That tube, the vent from something, crankcase vent, just goes on the top of that exhaust like that. But I just got called in for dinner, so I'll have to pick this up tomorrow. We'll put the clutches on, see if it lines up. I'm back. It's the next day. I don't have a lot of time until some people show up, but we're gonna try to get this clutch back on, and I want to see how that belt lines up now. So let me throw the primary, the secondary on there, and find my secondary bolt. I don't remember what I did with it. I gotta fire up my computer. I don't remember the torque specs offhand. There it is. Drive clutch 96, driven clutch 55. 96 and 55. All right. 96. The faint of heart might want to look away while I set the torque on the secondary. That's 55 right there. Beautiful. And the belt. Letters facing toward me. Alright. Smooth. Let's see what the alignment looks like. It's still right on the inside. I don't really like it. Wish there was a way to shim this, you know? Take a look at this with me. That's what we're looking at. Maybe I'll put a better picture over top. And it's all the way to one side. If that were a Pro XP, I could put some shims in there. It'd be pretty easy to fix, but I can't on this. No. It is what it is, I'm afraid. I'm gonna start it up and see how she runs. I just tried to shift it to see how it did when I had a little bit of drag, feel the shifting. I forgot I unhooked the shifter cable on the other side, so that's not gonna work. I don't know, I don't like it. Let me hook the shifter cable back up. It's making a really bad noise, but I found that it's the axle that we know is bad, and he has a new one coming, so that's my noise. It seems to operate just fine, so I believe we're just gonna go for it. In all seriousness though, if you know of a way to shim the clutch on this specific machine, let me know if it can be done, because I would definitely do it. It just seems to be riding the inside of that primary pretty far, so I'd love to shim that out if I could. I don't know, everything I've read says you can't though. Even the service manual, you saw me look at that earlier, says that it's not adjustable. I don't know. I just noticed every time I'm working on this thing, I end up with a crowbar hanging right here. What do you think that is? Alright, it's back together. I got the tires on, torque the lug nuts, all that exciting stuff. I'm thinking about that clutch alignment. I don't know why I didn't think of it before, but maybe I'll just get a hold of Harley, because it's Mother Clutchers, get a hold of them. I guess their service department's pretty darn good, and see what they say about that clutch alignment. If there's anything I can do about it, they would be the ones to know, right? So I don't know if I'll do a little snippet afterwards, and you'll see it here in a minute, or if I'll just put it down in the comments. We'll find out later, if they reply back to me within a reasonable amount of time. I wrote Harley this morning, and by this afternoon I had a response back, and they said, yeah, that's out of alignment, and here's how you fix it. So now I have a way to fix it with washers. It's so simple, I don't know why I didn't think of it myself, but we're going to get this line back up and going. But I got to take the cover back off. Bear with me while I do that real quick. I have the secondary off, and I've pulled the bolt off. And what we need to do is move this whole thing away from the engine in order to line it up. So to do that, all we're going to do is hold that apart like so. We're going to take the bolt, and we have some washers. I have 4 of them, but they fit perfectly on the bolt, like so. We're going to stick this bolt through, and then we can see the bolt in the middle there. And we're gonna feed some washers onto the end of that bolt. I don't know why I picked 4. Just judging by the gap I saw down there, it seemed like a good number to start with. I've already dropped one of them. I got 2 of the 4 on there. Hey, got it, okay. So if you can see through there, I have 4 bolts, or 4 washers on my bolt. There you go. We're gonna stick this back on, tighten it down, and see if the belt lines up. I got it back in there and torque back down, but that was just a little too much. So 4 was too much. I'm gonna take it back apart and just do it with 2. That'll split the difference. It almost looks like I went exactly the wrong distance the other side. You know, it looked like a lot more, that's why I put 4 in, but I think 2 would have been perfect. So I'll pull it back off, take 2 of those washers off of there, stick it back on. But it works, it pushed it too far out. So that's the theory. I'm surprised I didn't just think of this to do. It's so simple, it never even occurred to me. That's with 2. Man, it's close. I think I want it just a little bit that way still. Yeah. I'm gonna do it one more time with 3. Look at that. That is centered in there now. That should work. The ultimate test will be, that'll be tricky with the cover half off, if it'll idle in neutral and not spin the secondary. That's the test. I have the clutch cover on, kinda, sorta. It's not gonna be as exciting, but you'll be able to tell if it's spinning by looking at the end of that bolt right there. Okay, well that's fixed. We learned something. So thanks for watching that part. I guess I'll give you back to the original video. Sorry for the interruption, but we learned something. Worth it, worth it. But that's it, it's done. Engine is back in one piece. I forgot to mention those bolts I picked up. I think they were either 4 or 5 inch. I used 3/8. It's the closest I could find to M10s available at Tractor Supply because they sell them by the pound, pretty cheap. Nice way to do it. I used grade 5. I didn't want to use 8. I felt like they might be too brittle. I don't know if that'll bite me in the end, but grade 5, that's kind of equivalent to the factory ones. So that's where I picked up those bolts. 1 original and 3 ended up being Tractor Supply. Okay, but yeah, that's going to do it for me today. I want to thank you so much for watching, and I really appreciate every viewer and every subscriber. Your guys' support really keeps us going, keeps these wheels turning, the machines going, keeps me doing these projects and sharing them with you. I hope you enjoyed it. Anything I do in this machine, or the Aces, or the Pro, or anything else really, I have playlists all set up for those, so if that's the kind of content you like, go check out those playlists, see some other videos. And if it wouldn't bother you too much, just give me a thumbs up. Really appreciate it. Alright, that's going to do it for me today. Thanks again for watching. I hope to see you here for another video on 3-Day Weekend. That is a gigantic spider. Oh my gosh. That's it. We're moving. I'm done.